Elilo is the new Pixar movie that I was pretty excited about, but really didn't seem like anybody else was excited about, so I bought a ticket to the early screening. I actually went for the 3D just because I find it very odd that they had a 6 o'clock one in kind of a larger theater, and then they had a 3:30 one in 3D. So I just opted for the 3D because it was not at dinner time, and I could go earlier in the day and go to the barber and get some stuff I need to get done, right? So I went, and I gotta say, I like this movie. Actually, I really liked this parts of this movie, but overall, this was a disappointment, and I totally see why this movie is gonna bomb. And it's super sad that it's gonna bomb. I say that because what did we have the week before? We had How to Train Your Dragon, and then a couple weeks before that, we had Lilo and Stitch. All these movies are going to do significantly better than an original, fresh, animated Pixar movie. That is something that people have said they wanted. They were really mad when Pixar was doing sequels, but now when they pump out originals, you guys don't show up, and then you fucking complain. Now, part of it is on the failure of this movie for just not being great, but also, I haven't seen the promotion for this one like I've seen other Pixar movies. I was just in Target today. The movie comes out in 2 days. No toys on the shelf, no plushies. What the fuck are we even doing here? It's a Pixar movie. Where's the promotion at for this? But let's talk about the movie. Let's start with what works. What works, of course, you guys with Pixar, you're gonna talk about the animation. It's gorgeous animation, but I will say, we'll talk about this in my negatives. Their animation's getting a little bit stale, and we'll talk about what I mean by that in a minute. But it was good animation either way. The voice acting in Pixar movies is always great. This isn't the best I've ever seen, but it's pretty good. And I really thought some of the emotional beats really hit at certain beats. But yeah, overall, let's get into the negatives. To me, this movie is an onward situation where the movie itself is very, very flawed. But the journey and the end of the movie will leave you feeling. Actually, let me pause and do one more positive I forgot to mention. This movie is clearly a send up to like UFO lovers and stuff like that, and like that kind of community of conspiracy theorists about aliens. And even the way it ends with that quote at the end of the movie, I thought that was all really clever stuff. It all really worked. Now we'll get into back to the negatives. Like I said, this movie reminds me of Onward quite a bit, where that movie, the journey there and the plot of the movie was kind of messy and all over the place. But by the time I got to the end, I kind of saw the emotions and story beats it was going for. It made the movie hit home better, but that didn't change the fact that the movie was a little bit of a mess. So, like, I know that this movie wanted to. This is one of those movies where you're watching it and going, "This is the emotion they're trying to make me feel." I'm not feeling it, and that just makes it more awkward when you're watching the movie. It's trying to make me feel this, but you're not feeling it. So nothing was bad here. Like, nothing was going. I wasn't watching anything going, "Wow, this is bad," but it was a lot of, "Oh, that's just kind of there." And so that's kind of the way I feel about this movie. It's destined to be kind of a forgotten movie in Pixar's catalog. This is one that you're gonna see lots of videos of certain people on the internet being like, "Wow, what an underrated masterpiece," yada yada yada. Kind of like Treasure Planet or Atlantis, where those movies are very flawed movies, and I like those movies too. But there's people who really love them and call them flawed masterpieces and all that stuff. People do it with all kinds of movies, but this is one of those. I think you should go see this in a theater, especially if you have kids. They'll have a great time. I know that because when the movie first started, there was kids being really rowdy and crying and shit, and then when the movie actually started, they went silent. Like, they clearly enjoyed the movie. This isn't one they're laughing a lot at like other Pixar movies, but I think it's time we stop comparing Pixar to other Pixar. because Pixar's golden age was a run we'll probably never get back to. And as long as the movies are good, that's all that really matters. And in this case, I would give this a 6 out of 10. Yeah, that's not a high rating, but it's also not a bad one. It's not a movie that you're going to leave feeling overly negative about. I recommend this movie to you. I thought it worked for enough of it that I would recommend it to you. Is it perfect? No. Is it pretty heavily flawed? Sure. But if you crave original movies and you want new things in the theater, then fucking show up. God damn it. Stop complaining. Last thing I'll mention for this review, the 3D that I saw this movie at the beginning, I mentioned I saw in 3D, was awful. None of it actually popped out in 3D. I think there was a shot when he first started getting like sucked up into space by the aliens for the first time. I was like, okay, that looked kind of impressive a little bit in 3D. But there was, other than that, the movie is very dark, which is weird for a Pixar movie. But yeah, and then one more thing I forgot to mention. Well, I mentioned I thought Pixar's animation is getting boring. I think the problem is like every Pixar movie looks the same, and then Disney animated movies have not been very good. Where I think Pixar has mostly kept up a pretty good quality, right? I think this like they're not making movies like Wish or Strange World, which I do like both of those movies actually quite a bit, but those movies are significantly lower than a movie like Elilo, right? And I think that when you watch movies like this, it makes you go, I think a lot of the general public can't really tell the difference between Disney animated movies and Pixar. They all look the same. Meanwhile, everybody else in the industry is doing all these unique animation styles like Spider-Verse, and even on Netflix this weekend, they have K-pop Demon Hunters, which is a movie I can't wait to watch. But like that movie looks more interesting than this, and it's kind of weird because you're like, does that movie look bad? No, not really. But I don't know. I thought this movie worked, but I just think that Pixar needs to save itself by changing up their animation styles, doing a lot more to actually make their movies stand out, and maybe start working on some of their scripts, because I think that's the biggest issues with a lot of their movies lately, which used to not be a thing. It used to be, wow, their scripts used to be some of the tightest and the brightest, where now I'm starting to notice, like, you guys are getting a little repetitive, things like that, but it's still a movie that I recommend. I liked it. I'm not trying to hate on it too much, because I think people are overly negative about Pixar nowadays. If it ain't the best ever, it's a failure. Pixar's gone downhill. It's over. And it's like, no, guys, let's chill a little. Pixar still got it. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.